Hey, Desties and Bride friends. So, today I have an episode that you are going to want to watch. You'll definitely enjoy it yourself, but you should watch it with your bride friends too. Anybody that's involved in destination wedding planning with you will get something out of this for sure. So, who is it that I have? I have professional bridesmaid for hire, Jen Glantz. So, a lot of people have heard about it. She really went viral. She was on the Today Show, CNN, Fox News, Good Morning America. She was all over the world. All over the world. She was all over the media because she actually became a professional bridesmaid. You could hire her. You still can hire her. She has a company. You can hire her to be a professional bridesmaid for you. So we all know that we have these crazy bridal party members that go and all these stories that we hear about. And she's that fix for that. So she joined us. In addition to all of the other amazing things that she's done, she has been on the podcast. And today I'm going to share that with you. We talked about everything under the sun related to bridal party members. She shared some crazy stories about her own personal experiences being a professional bridesmaid. She shares invaluable tips about how to pick your bridal party members, how to prepare for emergencies, how to pack, because she's the professional packer. She literally packs her shit up and goes to become someone's professional bridesmaid. So we talk about packing, and she has a book. So always a bridesmaid for hire, stories on growing up, looking for love, and walking down the aisle for complete strangers. I have this book. I have it in paper, I have it in Kindle, and I also have it in Audible. She reads it herself, and I really, really, really love this book, guys. I read it while planning the wedding, and I think it would be a really great gift for yourself. You'll definitely love it. But then it's also a good gift for your bridal party members. We talked a lot about, because Bridefriend is what's really, really big for me. We talked about what happens and why and how to kind of avoid bridesmaids starting to kind of forget to be friends. Like, that kind of happens. So we really, really dug into that. And this is the perfect book for your bridesmaid and your bride friends and for you. She shares stories that are really hilarious. But then on top of that, she also shares really, really practical tips and things that you should be thinking about. So you're doing a lot of wedding planning, so why not have some fun with it? But yeah, I recommend the Audible. And actually, this is the first book to be added to the Desti bookshelf. So if you go to Destiland right now, you will see the link to this and then also a free Audible membership for you. So if you're curious and you haven't done Audible before, why not? So, yes, Jen, thank you so very much. You gave us so many tips. You gave us so much love. You gave us a wonderful book. I don't know what else you could give us. Actually, I do know because I talked to you. And actually, guys, Jen has a podcast that she started. Since she's been on the show, she started her very own podcast called You're Not Getting Any Younger. I will link to that as well. Make sure that you check that out. So, yes, Jen, I appreciate you so very much. Thank you for everything that you've done for Desti, for Bride Friends, and for all of us. You guys, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. This is but one of many, many, many episodes of the Desti Guide to Destination Weddings podcast that I am sharing with you here on Desti TV for the Desti Marathon. Every single day, there will be a brand new episode for you. And then beginning in January 2019, it'll be season 2 and will be all videos. So Monday through Thursday, it'll be me and you, me giving you tips and advice and answering your Q&As. I have accumulated so many questions, so I can't wait to dig into those. So if you ever have any questions, drop them in the comments below. Make sure that you subscribe as well so that you are notified of brand new videos. If you ring that bell, it'll tell you for sure every single time a brand new episode comes. And if you're getting married, which you probably are, and actually, for this episode, if you're a bride friend too, let me know. If you're in a wedding, attending a wedding, or whatever, hashtag I'm a Desti and leave a comment below to let me know where you're getting married, when you're getting married, and for my bride friends out there, where the wedding is and when the wedding is and what you love about the bride. I can't wait to hear what you love about them. So yes, I am super excited for you. Congratulations. I can't wait to help you plan this destination wedding. If I have to say it again, I'm going to lose my mind. But if you have a question, leave it below. You can also always contact me on DESTI-Land. And until then, I will see you tomorrow. But enjoy this interview with Jen Glantz of Always a Bridesmaid for Hire. And get her book. Hey, Desties and bride friends. Today I'm sitting here with the professional bridesmaid. Like, seriously. If you mix the movies Hitch, The Wedding Ringer, and 27 Dresses together, you would only catch a glimpse into this woman's life and her new book, Always a Bridesmaid for Hire. Yep, that's correct. Always a bridesmaid for hire. I have with us today our Desti and bridesmaid, bride friend forever, Miss Jen Glantz. Welcome to the show, Jen.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you so very much for coming. I really appreciate it. Your book has been amazing. I actually have it in the hardcover, and then I couldn't wait, so I started with the audiobook on Kindle. So
You have 2 copies. I love it.
I do. It's really great. So it's been amazing, and I'm so glad that we could get you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited.
Yeah, thanks. So I know that you've been interviewed a zillion times. Like, you've been on the Today Show, Good Morning America, CNN, Fox News, all of that. But today I kind of want to get into knowing what type of Desti love you can share with us. So I hope you're ready.
I am super ready. I can't wait.
Great. So for starters, I don't know if you know the exact number, but how many weddings have you been in? Because you're a professional bridesmaid, right?
I am. Oh my goodness. So before I even started this business, I was a bridesmaid for my own friends about a half a dozen times. It doesn't even count the weddings I went to as a guest for my friends. And I've been in the business for 2.5 years. I have a couple different packages, but I would say that I've been to, good 20, 30 weddings, and I've worked with over 65 clients in the past 2.5 years. So I've heard it all. I've seen it all. And it's never gets old. There's always something interesting that happens at a wedding.
Yeah, I bet. That's crazy. So is it safe to say that you love weddings?
I actually have an averse feeling toward weddings. So I was never the kind of person who planned my own wedding. I never pictured what my wedding would look like one day. I didn't know much about weddings until I started being a wedding guest and a bridesmaid for my friends. And that's when I realized, okay, weddings are extremely stressful. They're dramatic. They're emotional. They're all these things that nobody ever talks about.
All
and even worse than that, there's nobody there to control all of these things. Because even if you have a wedding planner, that person's job is to plan the wedding, to make it look and feel amazing. They don't really have the time always to help the people and get them up to speed. And that's when I realized, oh my goodness, there needs to be a position like this in the wedding industry.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you said a word, control. When is your birthday?
April 1st. I'm an Aries.
Oh, you are? Okay. So I wouldn't say that you're a control freak. I was just wondering. Is control a thing? Like, would you call yourself one?
Yes, Aries are I'm a true Aries, and we're extremely stubborn, and I think that I like control. I think that what I think it is I think that I can handle everything.
Right.
So I take on everything, and I guess that's kind of control to a T, because I just like to think that I can do it all and then fall flat on my face and pick up the pieces.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, you're an Aries and I'm a Taurus, and we're quite similar.
Taurus is like the better version of an Aries.
You think so?
Yes, Taurus, they are like the better version of an Aries. Yep, they are.
I guess I could see that, maybe. Yeah. I guess you guys are more like the ram versus the bull. The ram literally is the active ramming. I'm gonna do this. This is me. I'm super stubborn. So yeah, I could see that being. I'm a lighter version of you, maybe.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You're the less stubborn version of us Aries.
Okay, yeah, that's funny. So, as far as, since this is a destination wedding podcast, as far as destination weddings go, have you done any destination weddings?
I have. I've done quite a unique destination wedding that happened in Las Vegas for a lesbian couple who lived in Chicago, and they decided to surprise all of their guests by telling them, come to Vegas for our bachelorette party. And for the first couple days, it was a bachelorette party. And then on the final day, they surprised them by getting married. And that was a really cool experience because it was a shock to everybody. And there was so many awesome emotions that came with that. It was really beautiful.
Yeah, the surprise element. I like that too.
Yeah, because you think you're going on a fun vacation to Vegas, and you think you're going to party and have a blast, and then they hit you with, by the way, we're also going to get married. And I think that really rounded out the whole trip.
Was that like just basically their personality? Like, do you get to know the brides or the couples as you're going along?
I do. I get to know them so well. So we work together anywhere between a year and a couple months before the wedding, and I really get to know them. It's not the kind of job where I walk in blind, don't know what's going on. I get to know every detail, the family drama, their personal drama, things that are not even related to the wedding I know about. I do become their best friend in a sense, and it's not a fake relationship. I do love people. I'm passionate about strangers, and for me, it's always fun getting to know another human being and figuring out how I can help them.
Yeah, you had this part in your book where you were saying that we all start as strangers initially.
We do, yeah. I mean, even if you think about your best friend, the person you're marrying or dating, even a doctor that you go to quite often, yet first they were complete strangers. You had no idea who they are. So what makes them different than any other stranger? And if you're the kind of person who wants to help people, why not help a vast majority of people and not just the immediate strangers you come in contact with?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So I know that people say that this is a very weird job, but in my mind, it just seems like it makes the most sense. It's perfect. Like,
thank you. I mean, yeah, a lot of people have called it crazy. They've called me crazy. And I get it. You know, on the surface, it seems like it's the weirdest job you've ever heard about. But when you start to know what I actually do, who I actually help, there is a lot of heart and a lot of sense behind it. It's just the name is a bit misleading. I think people think it's, I just stumble into the wedding and call it a day. But there is a lot of relationship building that happens with this job.
Right. And a lot of people have bridesmaids that aren't their closest friends. They'll have it as, I don't know, maybe their fiance's sister or cousin who just wants to be a part of the wedding, or maybe someone that they haven't seen and who knows how long. So just really deciding to pick your own person to be there with you, I don't really see what the big deal is. I don't understand what the problem would be.
I agree. And I think that, sometimes people think, oh, well, who doesn't have a close friend or who doesn't have a close family member to ask? And I think we need to take a step back and remember that you're lucky if you have that in your life. Not everybody has a mother or a best friend or someone to be there for them. And that's not sad. That's just reality. You're very lucky if you have that support system.
Right. I agree. I am having my wedding and I decided we're getting married in Mexico, and I decided that we're not going to have, well, I shouldn't say we decided that we weren't, going to have a bridal party. So we don't have bridesmaids. And I like to say I'm not having bridesmaids, I'm having bride friends. And that's just because the bridesmaid stigma freaks me out off the rip. Like, I just felt like bridesmaids aren't always doing what they should be doing, and it can just really, I've seen it break up friendships. I've seen it where it's just too much. It's too much energy, and I don't want to lose. I love the people that I have. I don't want to lose them, but I do want that support at the same time. So I feel like sometimes bridesmaids can forget to be the friends. So I don't want you to be my bridesmaid as much as I want you to be my bride friend. And it seems like that's what you really are. Like, you're that, not just a bridesmaid because of you have a title, but you're actually being a friend to these people.
Which is, I think, what most bridesmaids forget when they take on the role. I think there's so much stress and pressure that bridesmaids feel. And when they're feeling that, they forget to be a friend. They forget to be there for the other person. They forget to do all of these natural things because they're dealing with all of the pressures and money things they have to deal with. And a lot of times they're missing out on just being there for the other person, which is a lot of what I do. And I completely agree. I think the concept of bridesmaids is a little strange, to be honest. I think as our world's evolving and as weddings are evolving, that's one tradition we might lose. That's just a tradition that was from, medieval times when brides had bridesmaids so that they would, help them push away evil spirits. Like, what is the justification for having bridesmaids now? To order them around, to ask them to do things for you? I think it's a job or a role that'll slowly people will be inching away from.
That's right, because weren't like I did look it up a bit, and with Bridesmaids originally they were to kind of make it to where you can't tell which one is the bride, so it would confuse the evil spirits. Isn't it something like that?
Yeah, they all had to wear white, and it was so that they can, help push away the evil spirits, and that the evil spirits wouldn't know who
Who the
the
bride is? Yeah, that's kind of
Tell
crazy.
me who believes that now. It's like, that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, right. You're so right with that. Yeah, I do think that might be a thing. So because you're a professional at this, you're changing the way that works. Like, have you thought at all about doing bridesmaid training?
Definitely. So I do offer a package where it's a bridesmaid crash course. You come to me, I help you out. Being a bridesmaid, you don't know what you're supposed to do the first couple of times you do it, and you find yourself making every mistake in the book. And also, you find yourself spending every dollar that you have. So a lot of what I do is just train you, tell you, here's what you should say no to, here's what you should do. Let's get through this so that you're not completely stressed out about doing it.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, that's really great. How do you deal with the energies? Because a lot of them don't know you, and you had a piece in your book basically where there was this random bridesmaid who was highly territorial and just wanted to know who you are and where you come from, because you kind of have a cover usually, right?
I do. So the bride and I will have a story that we've pre-planned together on how we know each other. I have a fake name, and I've never met any of the bridesmaids before. So oftentimes when I do walk into the wedding, they wonder who the heck I am, and they wonder, why the bride has me there. So I do face a lot of bridesmaids who are not thrilled at my existence, who are not very friendly to me. But my job is just to make it through the day and help out who I can. So sometimes they do warm up to me. I make sure that I do things for them to help them out, take off a lot of their dirty work that they have to do. But sometimes, they're not thrilled I'm there because they don't know why. It's a secret from them. They're wondering and trying to figure out why I haven't been at anything else in the bride's life since they've known her. So it is a little bit awkward. I put up with it because I love what I do, but it can be a little strange sometimes.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, but I guess, can you offer any advice to the brides where they have that bridesmaid who is not who's not doing what they're supposed to do?
Definitely. I think that you need to take a step back and wonder if the requests you're asking are too much. And you have to also understand that while you're planning your wedding, your friends have a lot of things going on in their own life, whether that's, something with their job, their personal life, their finances. So they have a lot of things going on too. And it's not always something personal of why they're not being a good bridesmaid. So instead of thinking of bridesmaids as good or bad, think of them as just people and try to figure out a way to talk to them in a sense that you can figure out what's going on and make this whole experience good for them too.
I like that. So when it comes to I like that a lot, actually. That makes a lot of sense. And I guess you have to kind of decide or just remember who they are. So why are you expecting them to be someone different, maybe? Just because you're getting married.
And I think, you think that during the wedding process, they're going to change into these people who are going to be reliable and there for you. But, sometimes as in your friendship, they're not reliable or they show up late. Things are not going to change just because you're getting married. In fact, they might get a little bit worse. So it's just good to set expectations and be realistic about what you're asking and who you're asking for.
Yeah. Yeah, you're definitely, you're like the bridesmaid whisperer. You're the bride. Or would that be the bride whisperer? You're kind of both, I guess, right?
I think so. I think I'm like the wedding party whisperer because I even help the grooms and the groomsmen sometimes accidentally. Sometimes I have to find missing grooms or deal with hungover groomsmen or just go in there and kind of scare them a little bit to make sure that they don't get too drunk before the ceremony. So that's always fun, getting taken seriously by a bunch of semi-drunk guys. But I've learned how to speak to them in a way where they respect me and in a way where I put my foot down so they don't disrespect me. But my job spans from, females to males to everything. And it's cool. It's definitely a perk of the job is to get to work with everybody at the wedding.
Yeah. Have you been hired by a groom yet?
I have been hired by grooms who want me to desperately work with their brides.
Ooh.
They say, she asks me a million questions at night. I don't know how to be there for her. Is there a way that I could have you work with her and just be like her virtual wedding coach or something like that? And I've been hired by grooms as well to write their vows for them. One of the packages I do have is a speech writing and vow writing package. So a lot of times I do work with grooms in that capacity and help them write their vows because not everybody's a writer. And especially when you're writing something so personal like that, you might face extreme writer's block and just need somebody to step in and really help you out.
Yeah, and you absolutely are a writer. I mean, obviously, reading, listening to this, well, listening and reading the book, because I like to do both. So one chapter I've read, one chapter I'm listening to.
Thank you.
But you also had a book before the Always a Bridesmaid for Hire, which is All My Friends Are Engaged, right?
I did. So I wrote All My Friends Are Engaged in about, I think, 2014. That was about my struggle of being single when all of my friends decided to couple up and get married very early on in our 20s. And that book is just funny stories about my dating life and figuring out, why am I still single and everybody else has seemed to find their person. And then shortly after that book, that's when I started becoming always the bridesmaid. And that's when I started I started Bridesmaid for Hire, just right after that book was written.
Oh, wow. Okay. So because you've done it you've been the bridesmaid who was asked to be a bridesmaid, and you're single, and I guess kind of trying to find your way at the same time, because in your book you ended up talking, well, I might as well tell everyone the book, but tell everyone what happens in the book. But a part of your book, you said that whenever you would be asked to be a bridesmaid, you would jump into the online dating scene immediately.
Yeah, because I would go to weddings and I would see other people find love and be so happy. And I would wonder, why is this not happening to me? And a lot of the reason why I think it wasn't was because I didn't go on dates. I would delete dating apps. I would sit on my couch and be very happy doing that, but I would be meeting nobody. So in a way, working these weddings gave me a nice kick in the butt to search for love myself, or at least just start dating, which was it can be very hard to do because dating is not always the most fun thing to do.
Right. Yeah. Tell me about it. So because you've done it with strangers, done it as in been a bridesmaid for strangers, and you've done it for friends as well, which is easier?
I would say that strangers, it's easier because you really can put your foot down. You have, a certain relationship with them. I think with your friends, you still try to tiptoe around a little bit. You don't want to hurt their feelings. What ticks them. What makes them mad. With strangers, you don't. So you're pretty much a straight shooter, which I think really works well. But your friends, you definitely tiptoe around because you don't want to hurt their feelings. And, now that I am a bridesmaid for hire as my job, when I do it for friends, that's my off-duty time. So I'm like the worst bridesmaid for them. I go to weddings and I don't do anything. I'm like sitting down the whole time. If there's a problem, I let everyone else try to figure it out before I step in.
Like I'm clocking out.
Right, but weddings that my friends have now, to me, it's like my off-duty party, and it's not a job. I won't work, I really try to just be a normal person at their weddings.
Do they feel slighted at all? Do they say anything like, oh, how come you're like this professionally, but when you're with me, you're not like that? Does anybody?
No, I think they get it. They always, I think they do get it, and I am helpful in a sense, but I don't want to overstep anybody. So if I'm not the maid of honor, I'm not going to try to be the maid of honor, but I'll be there to help. So I take a back seat. I don't even think it's noticeable to anybody. It's just more of me really telling myself, okay, you're not going to view this as a job. You're going to view this as a fun night. And when I am working weddings, I don't drink. I don't party. It's a profession. It's a serious job. So when I do go for my friends, I really try to just enjoy the wedding. I try to eat the food and dance on the dance floor, go to the photo booth, really just make the most out of the wedding.
Yeah, really have a good time for a change. So
yeah, because I don't get to do that often, and it's good to do every now and then with a friend's wedding.
Yeah, what advice can you offer to a dusty bridesmaid that's listening right now, wondering, what can I do? How can I be a great bridesmaid to my bride?
The best thing you can do is just be there for her without asking, hey, what can I do to help? I think when anybody is stressed out and you say to them, hey, what can I do to help? They get more stressed out. So instead say, hey, how about we get together for lunch on Saturday? And when you're at lunch, then start asking about different wedding tasks she has to do, maybe offer to do things with her. Can I go dress shopping with you? Can I go to alterations with you? Give concrete suggestions. That'll always make the bride feel a lot better than you saying, what can I do? What can I do? Because any busy person will say nothing, I have it under control. It's very hard to delegate when you're extremely stressed.
Ooh, You're dropping some gems right now. I like that. So, what do they do if they're jealous? Jealousy happens. So what does the jealous bridesmaid, how do you tell her to get her mind right and to get her head in the game?
I think it's important to keep that kind of person busy. So if you notice someone's being extremely jealous, they're trying to take on the wedding for themselves and make it whatever they want it to do, keep them busy with different tasks they're going to be good at. So if someone's trying to sabotage the wedding because they're jealous or they're making it all about them, respect them and talk to them and say, listen, you are an awesome person. You are so good at what you do. I want you to handle this, and give them a specific task that they can excel at. And then when they do that, they'll feel a huge sense of pride, and it'll also keep them busy from not stressing you out too.
Okay. All right. I like it. And between, I guess, I have so many bridesmaid questions because I don't have any. So this is just amazing to me to just be able to get a peek into the mind of a bridesmaid right now. But what should brides know about what bridesmaids go through? You've been through so much stuff. Is there anything that's like a common denominator that a bride just has no idea that this really happens, that this is a thing, but they should probably be aware of?
I would say that, if you're a bride and you have a bunch of bridesmaids, you should not just say to them, hey, do you want to be my bridesmaid? I think you need to set expectations with them. I think that it's very important that both parties are on the same page, that bridesmaids know how much to spend, how much they're going to have to do, and that brides say, here's what I expect of you. I think all of this should be established before anything else, before any other conversation happens.
Does that sound Zilla-ish at all?
It doesn't, in the sense that a lot of times as a bridesmaid, you're agreeing to something you don't know what you're getting yourself into, and you never do that in real life. If a friend said to you, hey, want to go to Mexico? You wouldn't say, sure, count me in. You would say, when are you going to go? How much is it going to cost? What are we going to be doing there? And it's the same thing with being a bridesmaid. You shouldn't just say, yeah, definitely. You should say, what are you expecting? Or do you need me to do this? Like, I think that we just rush into saying yes because we think it's a yes or no answer, but we would never do that in any other situation.
Yeah, that's true. Now, I know that you're definitely like a day of bridesmaid for hire, but do you also do like the other stuff? Like, have you done the bachelorette parties? Can people get you for longer periods of time?
Definitely. So a lot of times what I do is I will work the bachelorette party or the bridal shower, totally and completely up to them and what their needs are.
That's cool. Have you seen the Hitch, the movie?
I have. I love that movie. He is definitely the guy version of me in some sense. He is, has charm and he's funny. He's way cooler than I am, for sure.
But like one of the parts, like, are you at all worried that this book is going to blow your cover, like how it happened in the movie?
I'm not, only because I think that people won't put two and two together, or, I just have this like weird feeling that no one will ever seek out my true identity, but you don't know. And I really do hope that I can hire other women to work for me and work weddings for me so that I'm not always the one there in case someone does recognize me, but I don't know if that'll ever happen.
Have any brides, since you've come out with the book, reached out to you? Like, oh my gosh, what's happening?
Yeah, I've had brides book me in the past week since the book's come out. I booked a wedding in Seattle. I booked a couple other weddings. But none of my brides in the past have come out and said anything. I really made sure that I changed names in the book and that I changed locations and some details so that nobody at the weddings could ever figure out what wedding it was. Because the last thing I wanted to do was write a book that, really ruined other people's lives, and I didn't want to do that. So I really made a conscious effort to make sure that I didn't out anybody.
Okay, that's interesting. Now, I heard that your book, it took you like 2 months to write it. Is that true?
It did. I was given 3 months to write it, but of course that, extra month I was spent procrastinating and freaking out. So I really had 2 quality months to write it, and I would sit on my couch from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. I had my phone on airplane mode. I wouldn't leave the apartment, and I just wrote straight. And it was Very challenging, but also you kind of black out through it, so you don't even remember the pain of it, which is really weird. Looking back now, I'm like, oh, it wasn't that bad, but during it, I really do remember it being really hard.
Yeah, but it's come out. It's really great. So when I heard that, I was
you.
like, oh my gosh, 2 months. It takes me that long to write a blog post, so.
I am a writer by trade. That's always what I've done. So I think that month I spent psyching myself out was needed because that got all of my fear out of the way. So when I started writing it and I had just the 2 months left, I wasn't, BSing around, talking myself out of it. I was like, okay, I spent a good 30 days telling myself I could never do this, and now I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
So I think I needed that month of just like, oh my God, what did you sign up for?
Yeah, I feel like it's funny that you say that, and on a lighter but kind of a weird connected mode. Like say when I don't want to say I was anti-wedding, but I thought nothing about getting married either. Nothing as a kid was, oh, this is what's going to happen, and this is how it's going to be, and this is what he's going to wear, what I'm going to wear. None of that was a thing. And I actually moved to Pittsburgh from Atlanta, and I'm engaged now, and all of a sudden, I have just become this wedding lover. Like, I am all about destination weddings, and it's kind of freaky to know how great.
You never know what's going to change you. Like, you never know what's going to make you snap and say, I like weddings. I like this kind of wedding. And I think it's really cool that you're doing a destination wedding because that's an adventure for you. It's not your backyard. It's a place where you're going to feel on vacation, and it's really going to feel like more of an adventure than just getting in your car or driving down the street.
Yeah, and I feel like, it just reminds me of with you because now not only am I planning my own, I just am all about helping other people do it in a great way. We need help. So let's help me help you. Let's help each other. So I appreciate you just even being willing to share your journey with us. It's just been amazing. And then you have your wonderful book too. So
thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so you're welcome and thank you. But since you are the kit woman, you have emergency kits galore. So if you are going on a destination wedding, being the woman that you are, what's in that bag?
Oh man, I make sure that I pack for any and all emergencies. The number one thing that people seem to care about the most these days is chargers. Have phone chargers, have camera chargers, have any kind of charger possible. The second thing is health emergencies, whether it's Advil, Band-Aids, Q-tips, different types of allergy medicines. Always have extras of those floating around as well. I've been known to bring hot glue guns with me because things break and you need to have that hot glue gun ready. And I just think it's really important to overpack those emergency items just because, especially on a destination wedding, you might not know what the closest place to get these things are, or they might not have the brands that you're used to. So if you're going to overpack in one area, it should be those emergency items because people will need them.
Huh. Have you ever had any like beauty emergencies where you have to become a makeup artist or a hairstylist?
I have. I've had brides who their hair falls out and there's no curling iron. I one time worked a wedding and the bride's hair completely fell out before the reception and there was no curling iron, but there was a wedding happening in the next room. So I went into that next wedding and I found the other bride and I asked her if she had a curling iron. And she did, though she wasn't very happy or sure who I was.
Who are you and why are you interrupting my wedding asking me for a curling iron?
Right, but this was the case where the bride was going to have a mental breakdown if she didn't get a curling iron. So in those cases, what's the worst that's going to happen? You just got to go into that second wedding and ask that question.
Yeah, what is she going to say? No? Okay, well, all right. Moving on now.
You hope she'll just say yes and the whole thing won't be as awkward.
That's crazy. So what would you say, if you're more recent, I'd say within the last 10 weddings you've had, what would you say has been the craziest thing that's happened to you?
I worked a wedding a couple months ago where 5 minutes before the wedding, the bride pulled me into a room, closed the door, and told me she hates the groom and she does not want to do this.
The bride hates the groom.
The bride, yes. And that was completely shocking and scary. I have been doing this for 2.5 years. I thought I saw it all, and then that happened, and I was just, really shocked and didn't know what to do. But I handled it. I dealt with it, and very long story, complicated story short, she did end up going down the aisle and getting married, but she did speak to the groom beforehand to let him know that there were some issues. But listening to a bride tell you that that's how she's feeling 5 minutes before the wedding, it was very, very scary and was not the best thing to hear.
Yeah, has anybody called off the wedding?
Yes, I've had people have cold feet, days before, weeks before, months before, and called it off. I've never had somebody call it off, on the spot 5 minutes before. So I was hoping that this wasn't going to be the first, because it's hard. It's a very hard situation if that happens.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy because you travel for these people's weddings, right?
Yeah, definitely. And, other guests did. In this case, she had a lot of guests that came from Africa to her wedding. She had about, 50 people who had traveled in from Africa to her wedding. So I think it was really a lot of pressure for her not to cancel because all of these people had traveled so far to watch her get married.
Yeah. And she decided to let you know that she hates him and she can't do this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. I think that, it was very, very hard decision for her, but, and it was something very incredible to watch and experience on my behalf because after that moment, I think I have seen it all at weddings.
Yeah. And you said she came from Africa, so do you see any differences when it comes to like a multicultural wedding? Do you have any struggles fitting into that at all?
Shockingly, no. I've done so many multicultural, I've done so many, gay and lesbian weddings. I've done it all. And I think it's more about just understanding people, talking to them, not really trying to fit in, but at least appreciating their cultural differences. And I've learned so much and I've experienced so much from different cultures. It's so cool and it's amazing. And I don't know without this job if I ever would have had that opportunity because a lot of my friends are the same. We come from the same city. We look the same. We are the same. I think I would have been stuck in my bubble. And this job has been so cool to get to go to different weddings and meet people from all over the world.
Yeah, that sounds really great. Do you have to do research or do you kind of just wing it?
I do. And a lot of the research that I do comes from conversation with the brides telling me what's going to happen at their wedding, what kind of traditions they're going to do, what kind of food they're going to have. So a lot of it is learning through them, and also definitely research on my own. I'm going to an Indian wedding this summer for the first time, and those are like 4-day-long experiences. So I really want to research that so that I know when I show up what to experience, what to appreciate, what to do to respect the culture and respect the people. The last thing I want to do is show up in an outfit that's disrespectful or, not be present at an event that really means a lot to the bride.
Yeah, that's amazing. What is the process to get Jen Glantz as your bridesmaid?
So it's pretty simple. All you do is just send me an email, go on my website, look over the packages beforehand. I have packages for brides, maid of honors, bridesmaids, and mother of the brides. And from there, we'll chat. We'll figure out what your wedding needs are. I'll create a specific package for you. And we'll see if it's a good fit. I don't take on every single person who emails me because I want to make sure you're looking to hire me for the right reasons, of course. And that's definitely a good fit because we will be working very close together and it needs to be a good relationship.
Right. You said mother of the bride.
I do. I just launched a package for Mother of the Brides because I was working with so many of them. And that is not a service where they hire me to be a Mother of the Bride. What that is I do coaching with Mother of the Brides.
Yes.
Coaching where
I'm sorry.
We talk on the phone. We talk through different situations and challenges. And I get them to stop stressing out their daughter because a lot of times that's what happens.
Wow. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, where were you a year ago this time for me?
I feel you.
Oh, so you are definitely covering all bases. That is perfect. I feel like that's way more important than the bridesmaid personally, but yeah, that's pretty cool. It would be nice if you could find like an older woman to fill in as like the mother of the bride or something.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Maybe that'll be my
or when you
job.
Get older, you can do that.
Maybe when I get to that age, I could definitely do that. It'll be a good progression from being the bridesmaid. Though I did work a wedding where they had a bridesmaid who was 60 years old. So I thought to myself, maybe there is no age limit on this job.
That is true. Yeah, I guess that does work. Yeah, you can be the mother of the bride. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I need to fill in personally, so I'll talk to you on the side. But oh man, so when you deal with the same-sex couples, have you been on both sides as far as, I guess, have you been like a groomsman?
So I did a wedding for a gay couple from Australia, and I was their only bridesmaid. So in that case, I was kind of there for both of them. But I've never done one where I'm on one side or the other. But that was a really interesting experience because it wasn't legal to get married in their country. So this was just like a major thing for them to do here. And it was just such a beautiful experience to work that wedding for these two guys who have been together for 17 years, which was just... God, that was crazy to me. And you could really tell that they have been because they just look at each other and adore each other really, really deeply.
Oh, yeah, that's so beautiful. 17 years. That's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't know if I'll ever make it with anyone for 17 years, though we can hope.
Yeah, so, speaking of that, I am reading your book still. I'm not finished yet. And you are obviously the bridesmaid superhero. We have established that. That we know. But I'm getting the feeling that you're like Cinderella at the same time, since you have to basically cut off all communications with people after the wedding.
A lot of times I do stay friends with brides after the wedding, but yes, I can't really become friends with the maid of honors or the bridesmaids or anybody else there because, again, they don't know that I'm not me. They think I'm another person. So in a way, I do have to leave everything behind when I work a wedding, which is very, very hard for me because I fall in love with like everybody I meet and I don't want to ever leave anybody. So that is a challenge of the job, is working weddings and having to leave things behind.
Yeah, it seems like you have to like hurry up and dip before it turns into a pumpkin or something. So.
I do. I leave like usually at 12 or a little bit before 12. You'll read it in the book. I am like so bad at saying goodbye to people. It's my biggest fear. So I can't stick around and say goodbye to people. I just have to ghost and leave because I just get so nervous saying goodbye and I get emotional. I just have separation problems, I guess.
You were in a hell of a job for separation issues. All right, see you later. Yes, I was there with you. Do you cry?
I do. It's so weird. Like, I've been to so many weddings, and you'd think by now, like, I would just sit there and kind of roll my eyes through the vows and that part, but I still cry at these weddings, and it's crazy to me because I don't know, like, I guess I just get so sappy thinking about two people who have found each other and have, really stuck with each other through thick and thin and are in love. And I do get emotional. Like, I'm getting emotional just thinking about that because it's still beautiful. And I still do cry at these weddings.
Oh, do you help pick the venues do you help with planning? Like, does anyone ever ask you for that kind of stuff?
Sometimes, and I usually either refer them to a wedding planner or I do help them a little bit on the side. I do some day of coordination as well for brides if that's the package that they want. So those are definitely options for the brides who want that.
And for the outdoor venues, what advice can you offer? Now, I've heard about a poop story. But...
Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness. Yes. My advice is to, A, have a rain backup plan, and even if you think you have one, make sure it is a real backup plan because it'll probably rain. And the second is to make sure the area is fit for a wedding. I worked a wedding in Nevada outdoors in an open field with wild animals. It was not a place where there should be a wedding. They've never done a wedding there before. They didn't want to do a wedding there now. And there was animal poop down the aisle. So I had to pick it up with my hands because I wanted the bride to walk down the aisle and not stain her dress. But again, like if you're going to do an outdoor wedding, maybe think of a cool place, but make sure it's a place where guests can walk and sit and not have to worry about poop or burning sand if you're on a beach. Make sure that it's definitely accessible for other people.
Yeah, that is crazy. You picked it up with your hands.
I did. It was like such a last minute thing. It was just, I didn't even think twice about it. And then looking back, I'm like, why did you do that? It was like insane and disgusting. And I'll never forget that.
Yes, and you love pizza, so that's interesting.
Right.
It's like,
oh yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'm a little afraid of my hands at this point, but Pizza is
Yes,
pizza.
I think I washed my hands like a billion times after that moment and didn't touch anybody for like the next year.
And so what? That's crazy. What would I'm sorry. What would be your tips for actually when you get so you're the bridesmaid, someone's picked you, they pick their gown, and you don't have anything to say about that, so you wear whatever they tell you to, right?
Yeah, so oftentimes, sometimes they'll give me the option where I could help them figure out what they want to wear, what kind of dress, go try on the dresses for them. But there are definitely times where the bride says, okay, here's the dress that you're wearing. And, like every bridesmaid, they're not happy with it. Of course, it's not always going to be a dress that you love. But in the end, it's only for 8 hours, and then you can toss the dress off and never wear it again. So I try to remind myself of that it is not the worst thing.
And how do you travel with it, since traveling is what you do?
That's a great question. So I am like a very messy traveler. I will throw things in my suitcase, and what I do is if it gets wrinkled, I either find some kind of iron to iron it at the hotel or a steamer. Worst comes to worst, I do the shower trick where I just put the dress hanging up in the bathroom and turn on a hot shower, and close the door. And that's, usually the easiest way to get out wrinkles. And I've done that many times.
You just let the wrinkles fall out with the steam. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. Yep, and they do. It takes a little bit of time. You have to be patient, but it does happen.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Can you describe your least favorite bridesmaid dress?
Ooh, my least favorite bridesmaid dress is one that is purple, eggplant purple, and has so many layers of fabric that when I wore it, I just felt my whole body overheating because it was so big.
Was it short or long?
It was long, and it had more fabric on it than any dress ever should. So it was just such an uncomfortable thing for any human to have to wear.
And I'm not going to ask if it was a friend or... Actually, yes, I am. Was it a friend?
It was a friend. Yes, it was. And I think she knows because I talk about it all of the time. And I think she's okay with it now. She didn't have to wear the dress, so she doesn't know what we had to go through as her bridesmaids.
Right, yeah, she's okay with it. And do you keep them? Are you going to be the 27 dress? Well, actually, you're way past 27 dresses at this point, so.
I have about over 30 dresses in my closet in New York City, and I do keep them because to me, they are treasure. They're treasure, and I look at them and there's memories when I stare at them and put them back on. Put them back on? Yeah, I do. I put them back on occasionally and swirl around in my apartment and just remember the wedding, and eventually I will give them away, so it's a good just way of recapping what I went through. Oh, you can keep them. Like you said, I mean, you're in New York, so I'm sure space is definitely a hard thing to come across in New York, but you can keep them. Yeah, I mean, I think I will until I have to move from this apartment because it's precious real estate in New York, So right. I think eventually I'll have to part ways with them so that I could store other things. Right. So do you have a lot of local weddings in New York? I do a ton of weddings in New York, but I do travel all over for weddings as well. So I've been almost everywhere in the country, and I do a lot in Manhattan and Brooklyn, and those are always fun to do one that's local. What's your favorite venue that you've been to? Ooh, that's definitely a tough question. Favorite venue? I would say that I've done some weddings that are in very small restaurants where they rent out the entire restaurant, and that's really cool too because it doesn't have a feel of a wedding venue. Instead, it has a feel of a nice, boutique type restaurant, and I think that that's romantic and usually really fun. Yeah, we have friends who it's not wedding related. They had their 1-year-old's birthday party. They rented out a small restaurant, and I was completely in love with that idea. I love it. I think it's really cool. I had a party for my book at a rock and roll bar in New York City, and after I left, I said, I want to have my wedding here. I want to rent this place out and have my wedding here because I think that it's such an unusual venue. It's like a rock and roll bar, but it has a cool vibe to it. So I think using unusual places like that could be fun for weddings. Yeah, I want to have my wedding here. Do I hear wedding bells? I hope so. I mean, I don't hope so. You never know, right? I've been with my boyfriend for a year, and we do talk about it. When I told him about the, rock and roll bar, he said maybe for an engagement party, but he wasn't so sure our parents would be thrilled. And then I reminded him that we're paying for this wedding, so we should do what we want. Right. That is an excellent reminder. So Jen Glantz's wedding, will she have bridesmaids? No way. I want nothing that feels like a wedding. I don't want to walk down an aisle. I don't want to wear a white dress. I will be wearing something sequined, and I want it to feel like a birthday party more than a wedding. I just want it to feel like my personality and the personality of who I'm marrying, and less like something off a Pinterest board.
Is this bridal burnout, or have you felt that way for a while now?
I think I was always the kind of person who never cared about their wedding. Like, I was never the young girl who thought, oh, I want to wear this and have it here. And I never really cared, never planned it. So even like now that I'm in a serious relationship, it's really the first time I've been thinking about my own wedding. And when I do, I have zero thoughts. I'm like, I don't know. I don't really want anything. I don't really care enough to spend money on anything. To me, it's like I want good pizza and good music and every person I've ever met in the world there, and that's it. I don't care about the flowers and the cake and the veil and wearing a $3,000 dress. Like those things just don't matter to me. So I think that I want something where I'm happy with what I have there.
Great, yeah. What about a $3,000 sequin sweater? I see you like sequins.
Yes, I mean, that's what I'm talking about, because you know what? I wear that again. So I think, $300 might be more of my wedding price range, but something that I could really wear again, and I totally would wear a sequins dress again, and I would never wear a white long dress again. That's just not my style, so I don't want to buy something just for that one day. I'm big on re-wearing everything you have.
Including your bridesmaid dresses, you can just spin around in them. How does your boyfriend feel about you traveling to be a bridesmaid all the time?
He likes it. I mean, even before we went on our first date, he did his research, and he knew what I did before he got there, and that was, refreshing, because it wasn't such a shock to tell him, and he loves it. And sometimes he travels with me, and he'll stick around the city or the hotel and hang out in the new city that we're in. And he's super supportive of it. And that's so great, because I've been with people in the past who have not understood it or not cared about it. It's nice to be with someone who doesn't call you crazy and instead gives you ideas on how to expand your business and make it even better.
Yes, he's a keeper.
Oh, yes. I hope so.
I'm his fan, because, yes, you must be celebrated for what you do. That's very important. So. We like him. We like him a lot.
Yes, we do.
Okay, so I don't want to take too much of your time. I thoroughly appreciate what you've done for us so far here. It's been great.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been so much fun.
Thanks too. I do want you to. Can you tell people how they can find you?
Sure. So you can find more about my business on bridesmaidforhire.com, and you can get Always a Bridesmaid for Hire, my new book, on Amazon, at Barnes & Noble, wherever books are sold. If you want to hang out with me, you can find me on social media at Jen Glantz, and we will be friends.
And you can also find her on Audible and on Kindle as well, because her audiobook is adorable, and it's from her voice, and it's great. So I have to add that piece in there as well. So thank you so very much. Now, as far as your packages go, how much does it cost to have a bridesmaid for hire?
So I have a couple different packages, everything from being your bridal coach to your maid of honor coach to being your actual bridesmaid. So my packages start, for the coaching packages, around $300, and for the in-person packages, they start at about $1,500 and go up from there.
Okay, and so they would pay for your lodging and your travel, and for you for that day of as well?
Yep, they pay for travel, accommodations, and the dress.
Gotcha. And do you get a +1 since you have your boo with you?
I wish. I don't, but, hopefully in the future I will, and he'll get to come. He's a great party animal, so he would have a blast.
Great. And you are available for destination weddings as well, is that correct?
Yes. I am. I will travel anywhere that you need me to travel.
You have your passport?
I do, and it's looking for some new stamps.
Okay, great. I appreciate this, and I know that the audience will as well. So,
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you again. This was so much fun. Thank you so much, and good luck at your wedding. I hope you have the best time in Mexico.
Thank you, Jen. I appreciate that.
Yay.
And all right, besties and bride friends, we will see you next time. Thanks, Jen.
Thank you.